Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV, second round of the year for the Oceanic Dirt Sim events. Wide Open Clothing Australian Sprint Car Championships. We are here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the dirt track at Charlotte specifically, for the Australian Speedway results Charlotte Rumble. And it's going to be a rollicking second round of the season. We started at Volusia 2 weeks ago. Now we move to North Carolina at one of the most wide open ovals on iRacing for dirt. It's wide, it's quick, there's multiple lines possible, and I think we're going to be seeing quite a bit of wall riding, especially at the end of the night. I'm Reese Gardner here on SimSpeed TV, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. Scott Rankin is joining me in the commentary box, and Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes handling production. Oh, Mr. Rankin, I'm looking forward to this one. I hope you are too. Love the dirt track of Charlotte.
Mr. Rankin, are you talking to my father by any chance there, Reese Gardner? Man, I love this, getting down and dirty. This is my roots, baby, out here on the dirt. The only downside, there's 2 extra wheels than kind of what I'm used to. But hey, that doesn't worry me too much. Some good old right out sideways, ripping the top step and give me a quick time, baby. I can't wait for more of this. I was so disappointed when I had to miss this 2 weeks ago due to just being unwell, because I've been looking forward to this for so long. The last time I got to commentate was actually the dirt track at Charlotte as well, and it was really just, it's a fun ride. I love being out here watching these guys get right out sideways, and the win from Nathan van der Wacker last time out. It's just been good watching all around this series, and that's why I want to be here on a Thursday night.
Absolutely. Well, you're going to be getting a very big dirt racing education as we run the gamut on the schedule. But of course, here are the championship standings. 1 point in it coming out of round 1 between Nathan van der Wacker and Ethan Winter. Caleb Durgan, the American there from Durgy Dig Performance, on 155 points in 3rd spot. We got Blake Walsh and Clayton Davies rounding out the top 5. Davies, the first driver for Synergy Sim Racing. Wilson, Bryan, Oldfield, Etten Smith, and Brock Thompson rounding out your top 10. Now, Brock Thompson is a driver that I think we should definitely be watching. He had the potential for a fantastic performance at round 1, but he had a bad heat and had to work his way up through the alphabet. Managed to get a top 10 starting from the back couple of rows at Volusia. So keep an eye on that number 61 there. Let's see what he can do tonight here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Of course, Charlotte Motor Speedway is a track that everyone who's even remotely familiar with the oval racing scene should know, but there is a dirt oval at this sprawling historic motorsports complex as well, right across the road from the main Charlotte Motor Speedway, the 1.5 miler. Over here, though, we have a 640 meter long track here, 710 meters according to this overlay. That's just under half a mile, 13 degrees in the turns, 4 degrees on the straightaways. It is the perfect recipe for a super fast, flat out experience in a sprint car.
I'll tell you what, I wonder if that's the difference between the inside line and ripping the top step all the way out on the wall. I was just actually digging through some previous data from this racetrack. We've run, in ODSE history and similar series, we've run this track 9 times, standing atop the pile with the most race wins here from the dirt track at Charlotte, Bradley Oldfield. He's won it 3 separate times in different formats. Each of those separate wins, different cars. Last year, won this one here. He won the non-wing back in 2020 King of the 360s, and he's also won it in the 2020 Wheelman Challenge in the super late model as well. So 3 separate cars. Says that Bradley Oldfield should be on top of performance here tonight as well. Seeing wins from Blaine Densley. I'm seeing wins from Bergerson, Edens, Tim Ryan's out there. He's got 2 wins as well. Also in 2 separate chassis as well, so in a 360 and a 410. So in terms of the winged style, it's going to be a toss-up between Bradley Oldfield, but certainly Tim Ryan's going to be quick here tonight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I miss seeing Alex Bergeron and James Edens racing in this series from Quebec and the United States, respectively. Hopefully we can see them make an appearance at some point this year. But this is the round format for tonight. 8-lap heats with the top 4 advancing to the A main. It's the same for the C main and the B main as well for those who could not get into the top 4 in the heats. The A main, of course, will be ordered from the redraw. Our good friend the Spinny Wheel making an appearance in the warm-up session before our 24-car, 35-lap A main here tonight. So an awful lot of laps to cover here at a circuit which takes some time to cover, being as long as it is.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, I think, here tonight as well. I think the big thing is, you know, multi-groove. When you got a little bit of a wider track like this, the sliders come in, ripping the top step. You know, those tire bundles on the bottom lane, if you cut it down a little bit too much, the dirt refresh that we've got in the last 12 months has just been so good for the cars, for the tracks, for the drivers, for everything that they're doing. You know, with the way that we look at things is quite important. I think, you know, 8-lap heats, quick fire, nice little heats. Then you got to fire your way through the alphabet to get yourself in there as well. And what a week for motorsports in the country as well. Formula One about to kick off down there in Melbourne as well, and V8 Supercars. I don't know if you've caught the race from Melbourne as well from the V8 Supercars, but it was door banging fun. There is so much going on in the Australian community this week.
Absolutely. We had Race of Champions in Sydney just a few days ago as well. First time Race of Champions happened in Australia, which was pretty significant.
In the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah,
Southern Hemisphere, full stop. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It was just magnificent seeing such a great event being put on there. But, well, tonight's action about to kick off. We're just going through the initial event preparations here as we get ready for qualifying. Of course, we should say that Australian Speedway Results sponsoring this second round of the championship ran by Cole Ferguson, who is a driver in these championships, provides comprehensive and unmatched coverage and results of all dirt racing held in Australia, as well as Australian drivers competing overseas. You can follow Australian Speedway Results on Facebook to keep up to date with all things dirt racing in Australia. I know that I've certainly checked them out when I've been to the Perth Motorplex. Well, weather conditions here, 22-degree track temperature, 21 in the air. It's a nice cool day here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not much wind to speak of either. So I think these are prime conditions for some good racing.
Yeah, the good news for the wing sprints as well. None of that swirly wind to disrupt the airflow in and around those cars as well. You're going to hear these guys absolutely rip. There is, look, I grew up going to the Speedway when I was a kid. There is no better sound than a winged sprint car ripping the top step of tracks like these. That hum, that buzz. The local speedway in my town, we were a fair way away from it. You could hear those cars halfway across town, and that is what Saturday nights in the middle of summer feel like to me. As we move into the cooler parts of the year, that shifts over. It all jumps online, Reese. But you know, I love that we get the fact to do this series a little bit of cultural justice, and you know, be here and be participating in this. This is just feels right to me, you know.
Yeah, I always love jumping on for a dirt racing broadcast, and one thing that keeps me coming back is how quick and fast the action is. Usually a whole night worth of racing done within an hour, which is pretty fast paced. And well, I mean, you can see from these scenic shots, if you look very carefully to the left center of the image, one sprint car there in the pits. That just goes to show the scale of this venue and how wide this place is as well. You could easily fit cars 6, 7, maybe 8 wide down these straights.
Yeah, if you've got space, it's not really going to be that wide. You know, you think about most of the ovals and in iRacing and Auto Club Michigan sort of pop up. You can get them 6 wide on those, and then that's probably a little bit too much after that. You're not going to squeeze another car in. Have a look at everyone that's about to fire out of the pits as we get into practice, and they're going to fire around for 15 minutes worth of practice running this track in, get themselves set up. Remember, for the drivers, they're going to have themselves a tacky, a loose set, maybe somewhere in the middle, something that's going to start a little bit on the tacky side, maybe a touch slick, and they've got some adjustments in terms of that wing as well. So, you know, they'll be thinking about what they've got to do with their race cars. They'll be thinking about the level of speed. Track right now, a lot of loam laid down, not a lot of that slick line. That'll build up as the night progresses and we go through all the heats. And then we got the redraw, and it's always a good feeling qualifying at the back end of the 10, sliding your way in, then all of a sudden you pop up on the front row. That's about one of the best feelings in sim racing.
Absolutely. It's all down to random chance with our good friend the spinning wheel with us here tonight. Well, the drivers will get a maximum of 2 laps each in this practice session, just to wear the track in a little bit before qualifying, make sure that they've got the right setup on board the car, and then they'll flick over to qualifying. Of course, qualifying presented by Australian Speedway results as well. And then we'll be able to set our heat grids and go through the night. You can already see how much the track is evolving here as the field makes their way out onto the circuit. Championship winner from last season, Ethan Winter, already putting in a time very good in practice there. Tim Ryan, no surprise to see that he is on top with a 12.068. There is Ethan Winter in the VBS Esports car. Certainly getting amongst it here. A little bit of extra practice getting your eye in for the night.
Yeah, that's always crucial. Getting some time to run side by side as well as checking flags on fly quickly on the practice session, and we are going to jump our way into heat number 1. Qualifying, of course. Who could skip qualifying? That's one of the things that you can't skip. That's the most important part of the night. Sets it all up.
Yeah, certainly does. Well, Australian Speedway results qualifying is go. The drivers have 4 minutes to complete 2 laps to set their times for the grid. And this is going to be a very sharp session indeed. We're going to be seeing some times flowing in here. Trent Gosley of Middle Finger Racing is going to be one of the first out there, running down low at the moment, trying to set things up for the lap here. And it's looking a bit scrappy here from the number 4.
Yeah, he didn't quite stick the landing. I think he's going to set himself back up, rebuilds the momentum as he comes around 3 and 4, slides it back down to the bottom, has set himself a quick sector, drives it back off the top. That looked a lot neater. Have a look at the progression of the track, though. That slick line in the middle of qualifying goes Lee out of 4. What's the time going to be? It'll set him up for a 2:14. Not the quick time we were looking for. That goes to Brady Baldwin.
Yeah, indeed. Series administrator Brady Baldwin, who was with us in the box just before we went live. He wasn't optimistic about his chances tonight, but that was a pretty good time to set things up and get things started in that number 7. Darcy Walker, for the meantime, the number 51, always look for a good result from him as Blaine Densley goes 4th fastest, Schultz goes 7th fastest, and Walker goes 8th with his initial lap there. 12.351, got a lot to improve on there. Harry Stewart for Slick Sim Sports putting himself there in 7th spot for the time being, a 12.3, and he's got 0.02 of a second he needs to make up to get into the top 6 there. 6th held by Brock Thompson. That's going to be very important there. Look for Brock to be a factor tonight. He had an amazing comeback at Volusia, as I said. Stewart unable to improve on his second lap, though. Won't be too happy with that.
Yeah, new quick time moves to the top of the board. 0.17, Caleb Durgan. He is going to slide it all the way to the top step, 16,000's fastest. None of that pace that we were seeing from the practice session, but there's a few drivers still holding times up their sleeve. I'm seeing fresh drivers out on the track at the moment. Stovall jumps it back to the pits. He's not going to complete that lap time at the moment. So Trent Gosley got out there nice and early, 2:14, setting the time nice and early on. Vermilion Motorsports. Kevin Norman, what's he going to be able to set for us at the moment? Slides it in, will improve, moves himself up and onto the board for the 73 machine, down through 3 and 4. Lap number 2 doesn't quite connect, and you tell you what, those right rear tires sitting in the slick there, Reese.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where, oh yeah, here, Nathan Van Der Wacker, winner of the first round. Let's see what he can do here, making his way through, all the way down to the bottom. And you can see that he is avoiding too much of the slick there in the middle of the road. I think that's going to work things out well for him. Maybe a slight bit of contact with the wall, though, and a bit too much of a slide there. Does put himself into 4th for the time being. I think that might be the only lap that he gets down there. Clayton Davies is out there, too, for Synergy Sim Racing in the number 50. He is one of the top competitors in this series, so I'm looking for some big things from him. A 12.0.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at that, 12.175, in fact. That is a new quick time there, as we have Tim Ryan out on track as well in the dying moments of the session, as he always does. Let's see what he can do to get the quick time.
30 seconds left on the clock, and here comes the 98 machine. Tim Ryan find the drive. Now he's up in the loam. He's above the little cushion that was starting to form, slides it to the bottom, doesn't quite track through the middle of the corner the way that he necessarily does, keeps the foot down in it, slides it off the bottom. What's the quick time going to be? The 98 machine to the stripe, bounces it off the wall, 227, 236. Not quite enough. You know what? That high line might have been where the speed was.
Yeah, potentially. You could see he was trying to build that momentum up by running the high line on his first lap and then take the geometric fastest line on his second lap, but it didn't work out for him. Your quick time belongs to Clayton Davies, 12.175. That is 100th faster than championship defender Ethan Winter. Caleb Durgan putting himself in 3rd. Excellent performance there from the 17. Lachlan Mead and Brady Baldwin round out your top 5. Then it's Gosley, Van Der Wacker, Oscar Ames, Craig Dunn, and Kobe Noonan. Your top 10 fastest times covered by 0.5 of a second. Well, it's time to get into the heats now, presented by McSlide Race. It is time for the Heat 1 starting grid, and Clayton Davies is going to start on pole position for this one with Trent Gosley and Tim Ryan in your top 3. Blaine Densley on the second row there. Paul Bryan and Darcy Walker 5th and 6th, and then Aston Hurley and Nick Mithen will be your 4th row. Kevin Norman, the 9th and last car to take to the start here. 8 laps on the cards here, Scott. It is going to be tight in what is a very stacked top 3.
Yeah, and just have a look at Kevin Norman as well. Remember, he only set one of his 2 laps, and he was really unsettled as he set up for that one. So starts off the back. But I agree with you. I really think this is a stacked heat number 1. Have a look at the top 4. Davies, Gosley, Tim Ryan, and Blaine Densley. If that's not asking for trouble in those top 4, I don't know what is. Could we see drama? Could somebody from the back end of the heat slide their way through and take an upset and set themselves on track to go straight through to the feature? Who knows? It's always in the offering.
Certainly is. Well, wait until the grid timer gets down, and then it's going to be a 2 formation lap run to the line here for these guys, and I'm looking forward to exactly how this is going to go down. The track's already had a bit of evolution come into it versus qualifying and practice. Some pretty clear slick grooves forming on the way into these corners. So the drivers will need to pick their lines fast and make sure that they're riding that cushion. If not, try to go down low, but you need to be careful of those tires on the inside of the corners here.
Yeah, big slide jobs are going to be, I think, quite critical, checking the momentum and getting things set. Gridding phase is just coming to its conclusion now, so we'll be off and rolling here any time from now, but a big opportunity for Clayton Davies. He'll control the field for the first heat of the night, and then we're getting into it. Looking ahead to heat number 2, be Ethan Winter, Nathan Vanderwacker on the front row of that one. That's going to be exciting. Heat number 2 as well, Reese.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Plenty of fantastic looking heats that are getting ready to go here. Durgan's got pole for heat 3, and it looks like Lachlan Mead will be on pole for the 4th heat, and 5 heats here with Baldwin and Noonan and Oldfield and Stewart top 4 for heat 5. That's going to be another stacked race there, but let's get to the run here for heat number 1. Clayton Davies on pole position, and this is going to be a fun one indeed. Keep your eyes peeled for big moves from Tim Ryan to try and get a bit further up this field. Densley could fight his way further up, but we need to keep an eye on that 4th place here. That is the transfer. That's what's going to define who gets into the feature.
Yeah, but you'd love to qualify yourself into that feature a little bit further up as well, wouldn't you? So, you know, get yourself in amongst that redraw. So, well, we got, you know, a few spots on offer from the heats, top 2. Get yourself into the redraw. I think is what a fair few people are looking for. They're going to roll their way down the back straight away. Heat number 1 about to get underway. Reese, here they go.
Yep, get into the start zone here for Clayton Davies and get yourself into it. Power down and away we go already. Tim Ryan trying to get to the inside there of Trent Gosley, but the high line comes back to the number 4. Have a look at the fight behind. Blaine Densley holding off the likes of Paul Ryan and Darcy Walker. The number 51 going to be trying that high line early. And look, the cushion is moving all the way up to the wall at the moment. Tim Ryan going for it there, but it's going to be difficult for him to catch up to Clayton Davies from here.
And the big thing was that Tim Ryan got clear on the bottom, couldn't quite stick it. Densley's going to try and rotate it off the middle of the corner, finds some speed. The meantime, the cushion is ripped the lip, cuts it down just a little bit. Densley's not running all the way out into the loam as they come off for turn 4. The slider in the middle. In comes the 51 machine. Darcy Walker takes the spot away. Paul Ryan steals it back.
Here we go then into the latter phase of this race. Davies versus Ryan still up the front, but Paul Bryan could be getting into it here with Trent Gosley. He needs to try and get clear of Darcy Walker, though, who's trying his best to stake his claim on the inside. Into turns 1 and 2, it looks like 4th place is going to be safe for Trent Gosley for now, but the 42 is going for the move up the inside, and he's going to try and get the slider. Gosley ducks down low. Oh, my Lord, a bit of contact almost between the two of them down low. This is fantastic.
Top. Reply slide job immediately came through from Darcy Walker. The lead battle on between Clayton Davies, and here comes Tim Ryan, who's going to build that momentum. They were 3 wide at the back. White flag in the air. Bryan's ripping the lip from the top. It's the problem for Trent Gosley off the bottom. He was checking the momentum of Darcy Walker. Here it comes. Paul Bryan's going to steal it from the top shelf. Finds his way into a transfer spot. 5th and 6th is going to roll out, and that'll be Darcy Walker just getting it from Trent Gosley. It was 0.05 of a second in that one, and well, Heat 1 set us up. It ripped that track up as well, and that might open up the lines for Heat number 2.
Oh, certainly could. Davies, Ryan, Densley, and Bryan are your top 4. Darcy Walker and Trent Gosley just missing out there on their way into the feature. They'll have to work through the alphabet along with Hurley, Mithen, and Norman. All cars that started ended up finishing, which is good to see. Well, there's going to be some improvements to be made for those guys later on, but for now, let's get into Heat 2. Ethan Winter, reigning champion, starts pole position alongside Nathan Vanderwacker, the winner of the feature in round 1. Matthew Stables and Bailey Leeson, 3rd and 4th. Is Hayden Vickers and Bentley Summers, who round out your top 6. Behind them, Daniel Boyd and Gary Redcliffe, 7th and 8th. Jamie Stovold for Synergy Sim Racing, going to be starting 9th. And I remember Scott, you mentioned that Stovold was having his fair share of issues in qualifying. Hopefully he sorted that out for the first of the races that really count tonight.
Yeah, he actually failed to set a qualifying time, so he's going to have to roll off that solo back row. The big thing we saw from heat number 1 was the top was where it started to come in. Have a look at that slick line, though, right there in the bottom of that, so 3/4 of the way up that shot, you can see the shiny patch on the row, the hard pack starting to form. So will the line move? Well, it was all about slide jobs for a transfer spot. What would you do to transfer into a feature? Of course, you can't lean on them too hard because they'll get their right of reply should the guy you send that slider on make it to the feature as well.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's see then how it all works out. Pace car in, pace truck in, I should say. It's a big old pickup truck that these drivers drive behind on the formation.
Whoa.
Laps hard on the power early for Ethan Winter. He has absolutely nailed that start as they get things going for Heat 2. Stables trying to defend second from Vanderwacker, but riding the wall seems to be the way to go early on.
Yeah, the big problem for Vanderwacker, he had to check the momentum to his inside contact in at about 5th spot. I think that was Stables and Summers coming together. They're both going to get a little bit out sideways. The 3 machinist Summers will steal it for now. Stables trying to chase him back down. Here comes the 15 of Vickers. Slides it to the bottom, finds the slick line, can't find the traction. He'll slot back in out of 3rd.
Hayden Vickers trying his best to hold on to this one, but man, he's fallen back now behind Stables, who's trying his best to keep it stable up top, but gets into the wall there. Had to make a bit of a correction, potentially some contact there as well. Daniel Boyd now battling with Vickers for 5th place, but Bentley Summers is making it a massive run there in 4th place. He is safe as long as these guys keep battling on to lap 5. Vickers versus the number 79 there. And it doesn't look like these guys are going to get free of each other in time.
Yeah, Daniel Boyd starting to try and make some ground and check that momentum. The problem is, the more they squabble, the more they take it away. Slide job. Boyd just turns it back down the track and steals that spot back away. Rider reply once more. Vickers, will he try and take it back away? Oh, they've both made contact, bouncing all over the track. That'll lockout's up 4 in, and that has just been converted to a wingless.
Oh, it certainly has. Such a shame. Well, for Ethan Winter, the last lap has already begun, and it looks like he's safe for the feature win here from Vanderwacker and from Leeson, who have been following him steadfast for the entirety of this race. Winter wins with Vanderwacker and Leeson completing the podium, and Bentley Summers safe in 4th place. Great run up through the field from Jamie Stovold. He was able to keep it stable, and Daniel Boyd, Hayden Vickers, and Gary Redcliffe ultimately retiring from that race due to crashes. Redcliffe was out very early. He was the car that was going over at the back that we saw early on, but Stovold and Stables will round out our top 6 for that one. They will still have to work their way through the C main and the B main yet to come, but we've got 3 more heats yet to decide here. The 3rd one has Caleb Durgan on pole position alongside Oscar Ames, with Darcy Wilson and Brock Thompson on your 2nd row. John Schultz is going to start alongside Paul Ward to make up row 3. Then we have Cole Ferguson, the man behind Australian Speedway Results, starting on the final couple of spots alongside Rob Crawley. Damon Mulqueen in race control for this one. He will disqualify himself and allow him to focus on his race control responsibilities.
Was actually having a chat to Adam Briggs at Ascension Sim Racing. He was driving through my area on the way home from work and was asking me for directions around floods actually the other day. And Damon Mulqueen gets around. He was actually driving Adam Briggs's car during a media day for another series. That was the contact that led to Vickers being penalised and disqualified from that heat, by the way, as well. So Vickers definitely at fault, but you could just see he ripped it through the sleeve. He was trying to send the slider. They were so aggressive on the sliders, back after lap after lap after lap, and he just towed over the line, really.
Yeah, certainly did. Well, that's going to be in the past and potentially the immediate future for now. We'll keep our eyes peeled on the 8 cars getting ready to start this 3rd heat here. Caleb Durgan out in front, but it's going to be close here with Oscar Ames and Darcy Wilson behind him. Keep an eye on Brock Thompson in the number 61. He's looking for a good start to this night. It didn't go his way round 1 at Volusia. He had to work his way through every single race to even get a chance at starting in the feature, but he managed to get a top 10 out of it. So there's a lot of pace there in that number 61 that we have yet to see in its full capacity.
Yeah, good opportunity to try and find some time here for Brock Thompson, move his way forward. At the moment sits on the outside of row 2. And here they go, they're going to launch off the inside. Great initial launch from our pole sitter. And here we go. from heat number 3. Durgan got great drive. Oscar Amos is trying to fight it, but they're 3 wide in here for 4th spot at the moment. Now down to the bottom of the racetrack, the 81 machine. Ferguson's trying to rip it. However, the link out. Here comes the 5 as well. Darcy Wilson is losing spots. May not get a transfer. Currently trying to hang on to that 6th spot, it looks like at the moment. The 5 machine. Wilson's found his way through. He'll be now back into 2nd spot and hang on to that one for the top shelf. Here comes the 81. Ferguson back on the bottom.
Oh, Ferguson getting some technical issues there. Darcy Wilson, traction up the outside of Oscar Amos there, and will keep 3rd place for the time being. Oscar now falls under threat from Brock Thompson as Caleb Durgan starts to drive away. 12.5 is the pace up at the front. Thompson currently 5th place. We need to see if he can find his way into 4th. He is under the inside of Oscar Amos there, but it is 2 by 2 on the way into turn 1 here. Which line do you take? 3 wide. And there's the contact, and Thompson gets sent around.
Yeah, the 61's going to send it down to the inside. He'll refire that thing and keep her rolling. In the meantime, 99's looking for a little bit of pace. See if he can't find his way back into a transfer spot. Paul Ward at the moment sits 5th on the racetrack. He's not going to transfer. Thompson's been black flagged for the contact out of that one for the 61 machine at the moment. They'll come back by the start-finish line and get the 1 lap left to run in this heat.
Yeah, here we go then. Let's see if Brock Thompson will be able to find his way a bit further forward here. Cole Ferguson versus Darcy Wilson for 2nd place. And look at Cole there, trying to run the inside, trying to compromise Wilson on the way into the turns. And there's contact behind Wilson. It gets spun around by Oscar Amos there, losing power, losing bodywork, but it's Caleb Durgan who finds his way to the front there. Cole Ferguson and Paul Ward will be your podium, and Thompson manages to find his way into 4th there with the black flag for Darcy Wilson thanks to that contact. Oh, what a controversial heat. Well, it looks like Amos, Schultz and Wilson will have to find their way with Rob Crawley through the alphabet there.
Yeah, and Amos thought there was enough room to turn it down to the bottom, but couldn't quite find it. Now we'll slot our way over to heat number 4 and the second last of the heats here tonight before we'll get into the alphabet. Lachlan Mead will be off of pole position from Craig Dunn. James Oliver on the 25 Enterprise Machine 35, and Edson Smith to his outside. Daniel Grimshaw, Josh Barry are going to make up row number 3 from heat number 4. Row number 4, Matthew Gowans alongside Brenton Hobson, qualifying a little bit deeper in the field than he would like, and Max Lumsden from the rear.
Yes. Oh, here we go then. Another 9-car grid to take to the start of this one. Here's the replay of that contact with Darcy Wilson getting up alongside Cole Ferguson, and Wilson was running that berm there. In came Oscar Amos, and looked to me, race control, I think, defining that was a turn down from Wilson, and, well, wheeling across the line. It was a spectacular way to finish things off, but ultimately didn't work out too well for him.
Yep, unfortunately. Yeah, and Wilson, you're right, did get penalised out of that one as well, so 2 separate black flags from heat number 3. Heat number 4 on the 35 machine. James Oliver was giving his suspension a work over. As pace truck fires it off in a pit lane. Field in the hands of our pole sitter. Lachlan Mead has control. Waits. And still waiting.
Looks like we're going for a second formation lap here. Interesting.
They're a mile off the pace car, that's why.
Yeah. It doesn't usually happen after heat 1. We go usually for 2 formation laps for the first heat, but it's only 1 formation lap for every heat thereafter. I think race control might be a bit distracted with the goings on in that last heat, but regardless, pace truck is in, takes up its spot there, and Lachlan Mead will lead us away here hard on the power, and away we go for the start of the 4th heat of the night, immediately protecting the inside. We haven't seen a leader do that yet tonight. Interesting stuff. James Oliver still committing to the high line, but it looks like everyone's trying to run the low here. Craig Dunn getting some good pace on for the moment, holding on to 2nd place, and James Oliver staying up high like he is, could potentially fall out of the top 4 here. Needs to try and find some space to slot in down low.
And that's the problem. He's looking for the space to slot in as Grimshaw is going to run it down to the low line and find a little bit of bite, turn, and acceleration out the other side. 75 Machine trying to get in there, and finally it's going to be James Oliver who manages to find that slot to turn back down that racetrack. Have a look at the little bit of a gap between the bottom and the top lanes that's starting to form as they push that loan back up a little bit higher. We're down here into turn 4, trying to turn it down the racetrack. Dunn is going to have Oliver to his inside. That one's starting to get spicy.
Oh, you can see that they're running so close down low to getting into those tires, and once they do, that's going to be a huge crash if that happens. They've got to make sure they get their entry trajectory right. Well, we're on about 2.5 laps to go here. The 35 of James Oliver still trying to chase down Craig Dunn for that second spot on the podium. Behind them, Josh Barry and Dan Grimshaw still fighting over 4th place. And it looks like Grimshaw has actually lost a bit of time there in the last couple of corners. He's fallen back. That's significant. Josh Barry may very well be safe. But a bit of contact there between the 57 and the 35 coming onto the final lap.
Yeah, final lap of the heat. Now ripping it from the top step. Josh Barry's going to try and find some momentum up top. Check up on the bottom because James Oliver had a little bit of a wiggle from the top step. He'll steal it. Barry gets pushed back one more spot. Round the outside. Manages to find a slot for Craig Dunn. And your 4 that are going to transfer. Mead will take the pole. Translate it to a heat win. James Oliver and Craig Dunn and Grimshaw, I think, were the 4 to transfer from that one. Sorry, my apologies. It was Josh Barry was the last driver to transfer out of that one.
Yep, no penalties from that one. So Grimshaw, Gowan, Smith, Hobson, and Lumsden will have to work their way through the alphabet. Lumsden, in fact, not taking to the start there. So hopefully we see him in further races tonight. Well, the final heat of the night, of course, presented by McSlide Race. Brady Baldwin going to start alongside Kobe Noonan, followed up by Bradley Oldfield and Harry Stewart. Bradley Oldfield, the winningest driver at this circuit in ODSE competition. Nick Ryan and Nathan Norman round out your top 6. Then it's Cameron De Bruin and Tom Freer rounding out your 8 cars. Liam James, of course, in race control, will have already decided not to take the start there. Has to focus on the goings on circuit, of which there have been quite a lot so far tonight.
Yep, and race control certainly had their hands busy. Brady Baldwin will be really, really happy with his qualifying effort. I can tell you, under the weather here tonight. Of course, up in Brisbane, the Queensland-based driver didn't cop a lot of weather as part of the cyclone, so he is relatively A-okay, other than having a little bit of a bug. Biggest benefit of iRacing, though, doesn't quite take the same amount of physical effort that the real-world cars do. So illness, not as big of a concern, but you will certainly be struggling probably for a little bit of understanding where the race car is and accuracy as the night wears on. Look for that in the future there, Reese.
Yeah, indeed we will. And of course, we have been hit by something that iRacing themselves changed for the most recent build. They've now made it so that admins cannot make a race start pace shorter than 2 laps. So we are stuck with 2 formation laps for the rest of the season and potentially forever from this point forward. So recalibrate your brains regarding that one. Regardless, this is going to be a very interesting top 4 indeed, and if there is someone from the back who will be able to get it done here, particularly looking at that number 96 car of Nathan Norman, he can certainly get his elbows out when needed. Tom Freer also fair hand in a supercar, needs to work it out in a sprint car here, starting from the back as Baldwin takes us away off the start here. Again, immediately to the inside, sliding all the way up to the top there as Oldfield to try and protect, but unfortunately losing second place there to Kobe Noonan again. Harry Stewart's going to get the slider on and try and get himself into 3rd. This top 4 not breaking away very quickly from the guys behind. Nathan Norman working the bottom along with Nick Ryan, Cameron De Bruin and Tom Freer as they find their way around to begin the second lap. Baldwin here on the inside is in trouble. It looks like the high line's back into it.
And here comes Harry Stewart, who's going to send the slider, trying to check the momentum of Noonan. Noonan's going to cross him over back as they run down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Didn't quite find the slider line. Finally does manage to slide up and check the momentum. They're going to swap noses once more. That was a late dive back to the outside. Noonan does the crossover this time. Stewart's going to try and send it down as they hail down into 3 and 4. Baldwin and Oldfield are going to send the high line all the way through 3 and 4. Here comes the momentum. 3 wide and 1 and 2.
Oh, Baldwin trying to put the slider here on. Oh, Noonan, who gets a bit of a tap from behind from Harry Stewart, and Oldfield's right back into it as well. This top four coming together. I get the feeling we got a powder keg situation forming here, up into the wall for these guys. And oh, there it is. Around goes Kobe Noonan, and that might be a black flag there for who made contact with him there? Was that
Baldwin?
Yeah, it was Baldwin.
So that'll be a difficult one for them to resolve, but there was 3 cars there, and he had to check up because else he was going to turn into the car.
Oh, Stewart! Oh, Stewart!
Barreling down the back straight away, and they're going to come off the 4, grab the white flag one more time by. I know there'll be 2 more times by. Mistime that run. Oldfield's going to transfer. Nick Ryan's going to transfer. Cameron De Bruin all of a sudden in a transfer spot as well. Who's in 5th? Nathan Norman a touch too far back, and Tom Freer just putting laps in, unfortunately, for the Vermilion driver. Not quite able to find the pace here tonight.
Oh, well, Brady Baldwin will come away with victory there, but it's a bit controversial. I think Race Control might have to make a decision on that, and we might see a bit of a change to these results. It's going to be interesting to see, but for now, it looks like we've had our field decided, and, well, on track at least. It was Baldwin, Oldfield, Ryan, and De Bruin who were your top 4. Nathan Norman finishing in 5th spot, just outside. So he, Tom Freer, Harry Stewart, and Kobe Noonan will have to find their way back into the C main. Now, the C main here, going to be a fun one indeed, presented by Apex Civil Solutions Queensland. Let's see then what John Schultz can do from pole position here. Starting alongside Ayrton Smith, Stewart will start in 3rd for this one, with Nick Mithen alongside him on the 2nd row. Hayden Vickers and Darcy Wilson, 2 drivers that weren't able to get it done in their heats, got a second chance here if they can finish in the top 4. 7th place will be Brenton Hobson, starting alongside Kobe Noonan. Kevin Norman, Gary Redcliffe, and Max Lumsden will find their way into the field here. And looks to me like Lumsden is still not taken to the grid for this one, so fair chance and solid chance, full chance, not even a chance. We got 10 cars starting this C main.
Yeah, everyone looking for a precious transfer stop. Hayden Vickers, reminder, did get a penalty from that previous heat. He'll get sent to the rear here as well. Darcy Wilson is going to join him. Both of those drivers penalised from their respective heats. They'll start the C main from the rear. 4 drivers to transfer into that B main. Look for that precious transfer spot. Don't finish in the top 4 here. Night's going to be over.
Yeah, this is very difficult for the drivers, you know. I wouldn't want to be in a C main because the pressure is on regardless of where you finish. Of course, if you, as you say, finish outside the top 4, you go home. But if you finish inside the top 4, well, that just gives you a chance to start at the back of the B main, and you've got to fight your way up to the top 4 in that to get into the feature. So it is massive pressure for all of these drivers, regardless of where they may or may not finish for this one. But it's the number 78 starting up front alongside the number 64, and away we go. Looks like Schultz had a bit of trouble getting that thing going. Harry Stewart is going to be right on the attack here.
Yeah, Ayrton Smith has managed to find some momentum off the top shelf as well. Kobe Noonan, after a troubled heat, is looking to try and find himself a transfer spot right attached to the gearbox right now of Ayrton Smith. Here comes the slider to the bottom from him. Slider for the lead as well. Stewart slides it up. Schultz rotates it back down the track, does find the momentum, so it's on inside of the top 4.
Yeah, looks like a little bit of a cushion forming in the middle of the road here, but majority of drivers deciding that the high line is the way to go for now. Schultz under pressure from Smith for 3rd place here. Smith in the number 64 red and white machine, and they've got pressure from Kobe Noonan behind as well. It's a big gap back to Nick Mithen, and scratch that, Kevin Norman, who's just passed Nick Mithen for 5th spot, but Mithen gets him right back. It is a 5-car pack for 5th place.
Make it 6 is another car. Redcliffe is going to, sorry, I think that might be Brendan Hobson just rejoined, so Hobbo's in the middle of the pack. It is a 6-car pack, basically 5th through the rest of the field as it currently exists. In the meantime, Vickers has driven his way through to the pointy end of this one. Him and Darcy Wilson had to start at the rear. Slider from Wilson, can't get it stopped, can't get it turned. He's going to lose the spot once more. Slide job now from Vickers. He's going to try and steal the momentum. Back up from Wilson. It is all on like you wouldn't believe. None of this is for a transfer spot.
Yeah, this is crazy racing for drivers who have no chance of getting into that top four at the moment. The more they get in each other's way, the more they are going to slip back. So looks like Wilson might have done the right thing there in breaking free of all of this chaos. He can try and make up that 1.6 seconds to Kobe Noonan, but look at this fight here. Oh, Vickers. Oh, yeah, he is. He is in the barrier. Wilson's going to lose it. He spun it. Norman, Vickers, and Mithen will now be fighting over this 5th place. And oh, the number 44 gets sent straight into the wall.
Yeah, night done for him, and Vickers is going to try and slot back in. Brenton Hobson's in behind him now. He'll try and find some momentum. In the meantime, Kevin Norman gets his way through, sits 5th on the racetrack. We are now 10 laps into this heat. And the C-Main starting to run its way out of time. Who's looking for the transfer spots up at the point? Harry Stewart at the moment has the lead. 3 laps left to run for him. John Schultz and a huge battle with Ayrton Smith raging on for P2 at the moment and comfortably sitting and just enjoying a little bit of a relaxing race as it stands as Kobe Noonan.
All right, 2 laps to go, forming to 1 to go. John Schultz trying to hold off Ayrton Smith here. Kobe Noonan starting to range up on them, but Harry Stewart, dominant out front, is going to take the win here in the C-Main, and Schultz and Smith will complete the podium. Oh, airborne across the line there for Hayden Vickers. He is no stranger to theatrics in this series. It will not be a top 4 for him. And unfortunately, he'll have to go home along with Brenton Hobson, Kevin Norman, Gary Redcliffe, Nick Mithen, and Darcy Wilson. Such a shame to see. There's a few names in there that I would have expected to see on the feature grid, but it's proving difficult at this early stage of the season. Regardless, that top 4 there are going to start in the bottom 4 for the B main, presented, of course, by our friends at SimWrap Market. Thanks very much to SimWrap Market for sponsoring the B main here at Charlotte Dirt Track, with Darcy Walker starting on pole position. Jamie Stovall alongside Rob Crawley and Daniel Grimshaw start on the 2nd row. Nathan Norman and Trent Gosley are 5th and 6th. Starting in 7th spot over the page, we have Matthew Stables and Oscar Amez. Matthew Gowans and Tom Freer round out your top 10, with Aston Hurley and Daniel Boyd on your 6th row. And then it's Stewart, Schultz, Smith and Noonan from the C main getting ready to fight their way up here. I would expect Harry Stewart to fight his way through, but I think with the quality of drivers up the front here, Scott, it's going to be tough.
Certainly is. We're going to lead them off 4 and the B main before we get set for our feature. Darcy Walker's going to fire it off that inside again. Inside lane getting a huge launch out. Crawley's going to try and slot his way into 2nd spot. Has managed to do so. Have a look at Stovall, who's up here and running in amongst the mix. And here comes the scramble of the mid-pack.
Trent Gosley getting into the wall on the first lap there. Unfortunately, he will not be taking further part in this, and Harry Stewart is over and around. Well, it looks like he's making his frustrations known there. That is night over for the number 96. Such a shame. It's a disastrous 2nd round of the championship for Harry Stewart, but Matthew Stables and Matthew Gowans fighting over 2nd place. We have Crawley, Amez, Stovold, Grimshaw all fighting over this transfer spot, and at the moment it is completely unclear as to who's going to get it. That's the 96. Oh, dearing me, of Nathan Norman finding his way around. Looks like contact with Kobe Noonan there, and they will join Trent Gosley and Harry Stewart at the back.
And it's everywhere do you look at this point in time, because there's battles just about everywhere you look. Oscar Ramers has driven his way up. He started a little bit deeper in terms of the field. Out at 8th, gets his way to 5th. Now he's trying to have a little bit of a crack here at breaking his way to the top for the slide job to the top. Gets it done on Robert Crawley. But Crawley sends it back down through the bottom. Is he going to send it to the top rope to check the momentum? Here comes Amers off the top shelf to the inside. He's back transferring once again. Stables finds no driver ahead of him. They'll try and settle it down halfway point of the heat. They're spinning and bouncing on the front straight.
Yeah, that's the replay of what happened there between Noonan and Norman there as we find our way past the halfway point of this race. The number 5 there trying his best to hold his way through. But I tell you what, this is going to be a very tough drive on your way through for Amers, Smith, Crawley and Grimshaw. Meanwhile, up the front, it is still Walker and Gowans, and it looks like they are together for this lead here. Let's see if Gowans will be able to find some way through. Stables holding on to 3rd place. Oscar Amers getting into the wall there with Ayrton Smith trying to chase him down for 4th spot. I'll tell you what, he's doing a good job of it. He's feeding that right rear to the wall, but it's very easy to step over the edge here. Got to be careful of the bumpy berm that is forming up against the wall.
Yeah, Loam starting to run out up there as we get within 4 laps now of home, and now they're both starting to make a little bit of time on Matthew Stables. Stables not finding momentum off the bottom at the moment. He may lose 1 spot here to Amers. He's got to try and find a way to get back to the top. Can't find it. Amers now gets to his door. We're going to rip it around the outside. If he can't slot it in front of Amers, now he's going to try and find a way to feed back in front of Smith. Time's starting to run out. Heat is dwindling to a close, and have a look at him. You can no longer see them through the rear view mirror of Stables. He's lost 3rd spot. That's now gone to Amers. Here it comes. Ayrton Smith is looking for a transfer.
And he's going to fall to the inside as Amers to try and block that run, and Stables still can't find his way up to the top.
Oh boy!
Smith, this could be interesting. They are together now. Contact. Oh, and a bit of time lost there for the both of them, and Smith is going to sweep around the outside. Oscar Amers has damage. I think he might be out of fuel. Unsure. Might not have put enough fuel on the car, but the checkered flag is out. And Ayrton Smith and Matthew Stables will complete your top 4 there. Walker and Gowans are your top 2. Well, that was a very interesting finish indeed. Daniel Boyd and Dan Grimshaw, say goodbye to them. Same for Crawley, Stovald and Schultz. Amers rounding out the top 10 there, potentially running out of fuel on the final lap of the race. Hurley, Norman, Noonan, Stewart and Gosley all having massively bad races there, and they'll have to recover for round 3 in 2 weeks' time. But that top 4 there, Walker, Gowan, Smith and Stables will find their way into the feature.
And I tell you what, Ayrton Smith from the back row of the B main drove it from 15th to 3rd to get his transfer spot. That's a phenomenal drive. And if he goes on and manages to crack a nice finish at the end of tonight, it'll actually come down to his B main drive. He's had to go through the alphabet to earn his way in. But for Ayrton Smith, 2nd in the C main, 3rd in the B main, clearly not opposed to passing a few drivers along the way, so he'll have some speed. Trent Gosley finishes 15 laps down, unfortunately for him. Harry Stewart as well. There was so many incidents in that B main there too, Reese.
Oh, there certainly were. Well, we can fall into the spinny wheel, and Brady Baldwin is with us here to drag drivers in. We're going to start, of course, with Tim Ryan, and well, it's going to be either 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th for you, Tim. Hoping that it obviously lands on a good spot for you, but would you prefer inside or outside here?
I don't really mind. I prefer 6, Reese, than 10. But...
Of course. Well, it's going to be 8th for you.
That's right in the middle. That's all right. It should be a good race, actually. Hopefully the track will slow down a little bit more. It's probably going to take half the race until it starts getting good, but after that it should be a pretty exciting race.
All right, well, we're going to move our attention to Nathan Vanderwacker now. 8th place has been struck off the roster, Nathan. Would you prefer an inside or an outside here today? Tim didn't mind, but do you?
Honestly, I would have preferred P8. P8's my lucky number, so, and then I'm starting P10, so no, I would have preferred the P8, but no, we'll go from 10th. We came from a little bit deep last round, so hopefully we can make it work again.
All right. Well, Nathan Vanderwacker did very well at round 1. See if he does as well at round 2. Cole Ferguson, meanwhile, round sponsor of this event. And finding yourself in the top 10 here will be a good race regardless of where you end up here.
Yeah, well, we didn't qualify any good, so it'll be good to just score anything in the top 10. I wasn't even expecting to transfer out the heat, so we'll see what we can pull here.
Well, you pulled 6th, which is the best position you can get from this part of the spinning wheel. So congratulations, Cole. You have 6th place on the grid for this one. And we move to James Oliver, 7th versus 9th. Whatever it is, it's going to be an inside start here. So let's see where you end up, James. It looks like it's going to fall on 9th.
Yeah, that's not bad, but yeah, would like better.
Of course. Well, that basically means that Bradley Oldfield is going to be starting in 7th place, and I'm sure you'd be all right with that one, Brad.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, you definitely had some good history at this track, so we'll see where you can end up here, starting from 7th spot. Find our way into the top 5 then to decide positions 1 through 5. Clayton Davies is the first to join us here. It's been a good night for you so far, Clayton, so getting into that top 5, one more step towards glory.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of an odd night for me. Usually I'm not that great on qualifying, so we might do the switcheroo and go backwards from here, but it's showing some pretty decent speed at this moment, so like I'm just going to take it step by step. I kind of haven't been around as much as I'd like to, so hopefully the laps that I did make count and we can keep it up front.
Well, it's going to be a 5th place start for you, so the solid middle of the road start for Clayton Davies. Then we go to Ethan Winter. Well, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th up for grabs here for our reigning champion, and we wait for the spinning wheel to start slowing down. It looks like it's just going to be 3rd there for you, Ethan.
Yeah, that's not bad here. It's going to be an interesting track here if it doesn't get reworked, so there will probably be plenty of passing here in the early stages, and it might go a bit single file at the end, but hopefully we can move forward before it does.
All right, well, Ethan Winter will continue his preparations as we are joined once again by Caleb Durgan. Well, there's potential for pole position here for you, Caleb. Let's see how it works out. 4th place is what it lands on, so it's going to be outside 2nd row for you, Caleb.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, and then we move to Lachlan Mead in the number 16. See if he can get a front row start. He has got a front row, and guess what, Lachlan? It's between yourself and Brady Baldwin here for pole position. This is like Wheel of Fortune here, and it looks like you got it. Pole position is yours, Lachlan.
That can't be good. Can't end well.
It's worse that we're off the front row together.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster, gentlemen.
Oh boy, this is going to be a lot of fun, Brady. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm not sure you are, though.
Yeah, I've started second twice now, and I stepped on it last week, so yeah, see what happens. Not confident at all, so try and get a top 10 or something would be nice. But thanks to Cole Ferguson, Australian Speedway Results, for sponsoring the round, and obviously Wide Open Clothing sponsoring the series, and hopefully it's a good race for everyone.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
Just before we lose Brady, I just want to, something I said to him just offhandedly as a bit of a joke earlier in the night. I was going to drive out there on track and put him in the fence. So Brady, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Thank you.
Well, we'll say goodbye to Lachlan Mead and Brady Baldwin here as we get ready to go for the Wide Open Clothing A main here. Lachlan Mead starting on pole position for round 2 of the season. Baldwin, Winter, Durgan and Davies, your top 5. Ferguson, Oldfield, Tim Ryan, Oliver and Nathan Vanderwacker will find their way through to the top 10. Now, it's going to be a bit tough here for our round 1 feature winner to find his way through to victory from here, Scott. He's got some solid competition up ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, have a look at them, all those names that line up. And remember, Oldfield's back there. He's the driver I'll probably be keeping most of my eyes on. throughout the early running. A little bit of a back and forth between the drivers there. I think one of the biggest things that they said is that they're expecting this to single groove out as the race sort of progresses. One of the biggest things that we noticed from the heats was that the top was quick early, then the bottom come in for a very brief window, then it was back to the top at the back end of the heats as well. Very small window where that middle was quite good, where that cushion did, that secondary cushion on the middle, bermed its way up there as well. So the track is going to develop, but it's going to, I would say what's going to happen, we're going to develop really rapidly, and we're going to be left with a little bit of a single groove. So you're going to see most of your fighting a little bit further back. So track position early on is going to be a big, big key to this one.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, we are moving through into the feature from here, and well, that top 10 that you see right there is going to be how they start, but it's not going to be how they grid. Race control will rearrange them on their way around the formation laps here. But as we go into the wide open clothing A main for this one, outside the top 10, Blaine Densley is going to be starting in P11 alongside Bailey Leeson. Going to be a very interesting 6th row from there. Lucky 13th is Paul Ward, starts alongside Craig Dunn. It is a single syllable first and last name lockout of the 7th row there. Nick Ryan and Paul Bryan, 1 syllable, 2 syllable on the 8th row. Bentley Summers and Brock Thompson start 17th and 18th, with Josh Barry and Cameron De Bruin rounding out our top 20. Final 4 spots, the guys that made it through from the B main: Darcy Walker, Matthew Gowans, Ayrton Smith, and Matthew Stables. Well, here we go then. This is the most cars we're going to be seeing on grid all night. And considering how physical it got in some of those later races, Scott, I think we might see a couple of cautions early on.
Yeah, that's always going to be critical. And remember what we said as well, track position is going to be a big key as this sort of progresses. So we've sort of got to keep an eye on that. I would absolutely expect to see quite a lot of aggression coming early on. So yeah, that's just going to change a few bits and pieces realistically. Yeah, a little bit aggressive. I don't think we're going to see major contact, particularly at the front. The guys that are in that top 10, they're going to want to stay there. So they'd be happy to lose a spot, but stay inside the top 10 and sort of be giving things up. So
Righto. This is going to be the race of the night, figuratively and literally. So much at stake here, but it is still only round 2 of the wide open clothing Australian Sprint Car Championships here. We have got a long season ahead of us, visiting all of the best dirt ovals on the iRacing service, and changing around from 360s to 410s and back in terms of engine capacity. We have got a lot of different skill levels at stake here, but it's down to Lachlan Mead to lead us away here. Green flag in the air and down as Barney waves it, and Mead will lead into the first turn. Ethan Winter already finding his way up to second and going for the lead down the inside into turn 3. Clayton Davies trying to work the inside as well. He is joined down low by James Oliver, who gets sent into the wall. And that's a huge wreck indeed. Caution out at the end of lap 2.
Durgan's involved. There was a Logitech machine, which I think was Tim Ryan's involved in that as well. There was another car that was up there. Matthew Stables might have been involved. Cole Ferguson, I think. That one took about 5 cars out of this.
God, that was massive, and it all happened right behind our leaders as well. Looks like Tim Ryan was involved in all of that. He is on his roof. So we're going to see Tim's perspective of all of this as the chaos erupted ahead of him into the wall, and Tim was the first car that got hit.
Nothing he could have done. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then the front wheels got off the ground. A lot less control at that point. If he lifts, he's going to get run over from the back. So, that was just a bad spot for him to be in.
Yeah, Cole Ferguson we saw in the 81 also getting involved in that one. Fortunately, in this series, you are allowed to take a fast repair if the incident happens within the first 10 racing laps of the feature. So we are going to be seeing all of these guys make their way back out onto the racetrack, and hopefully be able to recover something from this. But it's been a solid start for Ethan Winter here, who is going to lead us away. And, well, down low, bit of contact. And it just looks like there was a bit of contact from behind there for the number 35. Nothing he could do.
No, yeah, he had to check up. It was just an accordion effect. He's managed to get his way through and at least survive and stay in this one for James Oliver. But, you know, was starting inside the top 10, had a huge opportunity tonight to put a big bank of points on the table. Now he's going to be rerunning it from the rear, which will be a little bit difficult for him. Got down in there, got some repairs done. I think one of the critical things for a couple of those cars, Cole Ferguson, Caleb Durgan, both getting repairs done to their cars as well.
Yeah, oh man, awful lot that we will have to find our way through here as it's on board from Caleb Durgan here on the last Super Speed replay of this caution. And there's the contact that started it all, and he got sent over himself.
I think it was Tim Ryan that made contact with him. So, yeah. That's just tough. That's just that early on, everyone's all choked up. There was a little bit of a check-up on what you can really do. So, here we go.
Yeah, here we go indeed. Find our way through to the first restart of the night. Easy does it on your way to the line here. Smooth on the power for Ethan Winter, and he will lead into the first turn here, sliding up to the wall. Clayton Davies as there's contact behind Lachlan Mead. Our pole sitter getting sent all the way back outside the top 10, and it looks like his suspension is broken. He can't get that car turned.
A right front tire. Remember, he started off the pole position, so that's just about night going to be over for him.
Oh, it's gone.
And right in the wall. That right front is completely off the car. Big accident in the midfield. I think that might have been the 81 machine. Cameron De Bruyne was involved. It was De Bruyne and Cole Ferguson who came together. They're going to go tumbling back down through the field. In the meantime, Winter's got a clean pair of heels out the front.
Certainly has, but he's getting chased down by Clayton Davies. Big battle for third place as well. Oldfield here holding off Brady Baldwin. Vanderwacker down on the inside there, trying to hold on to fifth place as Blaine Densley is working the top very nicely in the number 27. Look at them all making their way through. It is a solid run through the last corner for all of these drivers as they're all together. So much space around this track, and you can only find a little of it from behind the wheel.
Yeah, the problem is that slick is starting to build up in that middle, so the groove is narrowed a little bit towards the top. Big old Sam Leeson was, I think, racing Blaine Densley, and Paul Bryan was in there trying to find a slider in the middle of this little battle pack at the back end of the top 10. Loam starts to rebuild in the middle of the racetrack down in 3 and 4. Bryan's going to send a big old slider towards Blaine Densley. Densley pinches the middle of the road, covers that one off. Space for Nick Ryan to find some momentum. He cops a right front tire right there and turning it off the top rope. Vanderwacker turned it down the racetrack. The field will pile in. Last week's winner to the rear of the field and a left front tire off that car.
Yeah, he's crabbing hard as Nathan Vanderwacker, and Densley has lost some bodywork as a result of that. This is what happened between De Bruyne and Ferguson. It looked like a bit of netcode involved in that one. Unfortunate for the both of them, but oh man, they are still within the first 10 laps, so they can take fast repairs if needed. This is I've gone back and checked out what happened to Vanderwacker. It just looks like Densley was flinging it into the corner, and Vanderwacker was trying to get down low for a straight run on Bailey Leeson here, but you'll see it happen. Oh, that is a fair whack.
Heavy hit, and you can see why both of those cars come to the pit lane for their fast repair as well. Turning it down the racetrack, you're right, trying to turn it underneath and get the cut back because the slide job was being sent on him, and Densley just had a bad read on that situation. That is dirt racing. And the sliders, they're big here tonight. The width of the track as well, that's what, the third time we've seen a turn down incident?
Yeah, looks like it. You know, the drivers obviously want to use that to their advantage, but if you're chasing them behind and you're trying to just gain time, you don't want to alter your line like that. You go steaming into these corners to try and keep that momentum up. These massive wings generating a huge amount of downforce in these cars, so the more speed you carry, the better, generally. Yeah, I think if you're Blaine Densley, all you can do is just shrug your shoulders and say sorry. You know, it all happens so quickly.
Yeah, Lachlan Mead is in the pit lane. I think he will get that fast repair taken, but he's now fallen 4 laps down. I think he had to take a tow because he just couldn't get there. So he's been in there for a very, very long time. Here we go, restart's coming. Winter is going to be on the inside, gets a great launch, and Clayton Davies is going to have to chase.
Yep, everyone together once again. Second caution over for the night here, and Davies is right on the back of Winter. This is fantastic as he goes for the lead. Oh, Winter might have been caught out here, or is it Davies who gets caught out as Winter cuts back underneath? Bradley Oldfield and Brady Baldwin side by side for third place, and look at Oldfield. He is riding that wall perfectly. He was feeding the right rear the whole way around, and it's geometrically perfect for the number 51.
He's finding drive, he's finding traction, he's finding a little bit of help as the berm starts to build its way up at the outside wall. How about the race on between our leaders? There is nothing in between them. If either of them makes a mistake, they're both going tumbling down through the order. And have a look at them, 3 and 4 wide as we look deeper in the field. The timing screen, it shuffles, it shakes, it's constantly on the move, and Clayton Davies is about to send a slider for the lead.
Oh, yep, he gets in front of Ethan Winter, and it looks like Winter doesn't have a response. So that's some good, well-played tactics from Clayton Davies. Winter's going to respond by trying to run the inside. He's thinking maybe there's a bit of fresh clay down low that I can use there in 1 and 2. Definitely not through 3 and 4. Still want to go high there.
Yeah, looking to be high line is the way to find the momentum as the top side starts to really make itself known. Early on, Ethan Winter had the speed with a little bit more loam. He was better on the tacky track, but now here comes the slick stuff, and here comes Bradley Oldfield. Talked about him at the top of the show. 3 times the winner from the dirt track at Charlotte, looking to make it number 4.
Matthew Stables with a fantastic run around the outside of everybody there, and there's contact behind. Gentle. Oh, not for Nick Ryan, though. He is sent over and out of the race. Massive contact there, but it doesn't bring out the caution. We are still green here as we come around to start the 19th lap of this race. Davies, since he got into the lead, there's the yellow, has held off Ethan Winter very nicely. This is for something else. It looks like it might have involved Darcy Walker.
Yeah, 51 machine now goes tumbling back down through the order. He'll restart his way at the rear of this one. 1 lap down now for Nick Ryan. He'll be done for the day. No fast repair on offer for him. Lachlan Mead and Tim Ryan both sit their way on the pit lane as it stands. The replay will tell us the story of what happened to the 51 machine. 3 wide situation. Gets fed from the inside. Unfortunately, was that. There was a 6 in that one as well.
That was Brock Thompson.
Brock Thompson.
Yeah, just it's much like on Thompson's been received an end-of-line penalty for that one, so he's going to fall to the rear of the order for this restart. But similar situation to what happened with Densley there. Thompson just flinging it into the corner, trying to pull a slider and not anticipating a car to be where he was going to end up.
Yeah, and that's the pace you're carrying with these books. Live championship standings going to pop up on your screen. Remember, Vanderwacker is running towards the tail end of the field, has taken a fast repair, but still out there. In the meantime, Ethan Winter takes an opportunity to step to the point of the championship. Clayton Davies moves his way to second. Durgan's had a great night here so far. Vanderwacker and Oldfield can recover some of those points should this feature go long.
Indeed, they will. This is an interesting situation for the championship, you know, and it puts the pressure on Vanderwacker because he had a great night at Volusia. Did finish only a little bit ahead of Ethan Winter, though, so you know that Winter has got the pace to win multiple rounds this season, if not outright take that championship. But he's got to battle against Clayton Davies for it. He has got Bradley Oldfield and Brady Baldwin with him too. There's very fantastic seasoned competitors here, super close on their way up to the restart. Clayton Davies is going to nail it as he finds his way there. Winter trying to cover Oldfield on the inside, but he gets sent up high, and Davies, look at that. That was absolutely millimeter perfect from the number 50 as they find their way around this first restart lap. Oldfield trying to hold on to the podium, but down low, Paul Bryan up into the top 3 in that number 42. He is having a rollicking run at the moment.
Yeah, nice and consistent from Paul Bryan, trying to find some traction down low. Oldfield found the pace, Oldfield found the slider, and Clayton Davies found a Clayton Davies-sized hole. Brady Baldwin starting to rip that top, has a little bit of a contact, wheels banging, wheels bumping. Baldwin gets into the fence, manages to hang on to the number 7 machine, so he'll keep that one running for now. Craig Dunn to the inside. He's looking to try and steal 5th spot away. Bryan's looking for a spot to rip the wall. Here it goes for the race lead. Ethan Winter and Clayton Davies chop each other's noses. Is this the opportunity that Oldfield was looking for?
Davies sliding high there, and that opens the door for Winter to try and get a slider, but the cutback from the number 50 is there, and Oldfield has the best pace out of all of them. He's going to go to the inside of Winner, to second, to the lead. How long is that going to last? Up into the wall. He is alongside Winter across the line, and we've only got 11 laps remaining in this race. It is on.
Yeah, here comes the power, here comes the style. Bradley Oldfield up and by the wall. Ethan Winter's gonna chop the nose as we head into autumn. It's not quite winter just yet. Baldwin gets to watch this one on. He's got the best seat in the house, and now he's in this battle for the top 3 as well. Who's gonna manage to find it? Here comes one more slider from Oldfield. Winter checks the throttle, finds the gas, finds the drive, back to P2.
This is fantastic racing here up at the front. Look at how hard they are working the wheel. Oldfield is absolutely ragging it here to try and not only keep up with Winter, but try to pass him as well. The caution is out and tumbling over there. Who is that? That's Caleb Durgan.
Another driver that was on for a phenomenal result here tonight. Unfortunately for the driver of the 017, he'll tumble from the top 10. And he gets a 10 for sticking the landing, albeit he's missing a right front tyre.
Yeah, looks like he got into the rear of Matthew Gowans here, and this is what happens in these open wheel cars when you bang wheels there. Just boop, sends him up, and he has no steering, no control, gets cleaned up by also the number 3 there that found his way through. And, well, that's way too much damage to continue for Caleb Durgan, one of our international competitors in this series. He stayed up all night to compete in this, and unfortunately he won't get a result.
Yeah, unfortunately for Durgan. But that is the way she goes. It's been tough and tight in terms of the racing at the moment. We're going to have ourselves a shootout with 9 to go. I think that'll tick to 8 when we take the green as well. Single file restart from here to the end of the race. We've got ourselves a 4-way battle for that race lead. Paul Bryan was giving it a sniff as well. It's going to be really, really tight inside these top 5. Don't count Oldfield out yet. Look at the sliders. He's had to drive his way up here. Remember, started 7th in terms of the feature. Now sits within touching distance. Can Clayton Davies and Ethan Winter sort it amongst themselves? Or is it going to be the driver that sits out of 3rd who wants his 4th win?
Oh man, this is I'm looking forward to this one. Single file restart as it was within the final 10 laps of the race. Clayton Davies leads us away. Now who's going to get the most momentum here? Almost everyone is riding the top here. Keep an eye though on the number 42 of Paul Bryan. Up a lot of positions here, up 11 places. Ayrton Smith up 15 places in 8th spot. Matthew Gowans up 13 positions, holding on to 9th place. And a little bit of a slide there from our front runners here. Clayton Davies starting to feel the pressure. Winter gets to the inside here, and he's going to go up the inside into turns 1 and 2. Will he?
Here comes the momentum, those for the drivers in behind him, and now Oldfield's going to get a sniffy. He's going to send it all the way to the bottom rope. Can he find the power? He can't quite get the drive. Ethan Winter back to P2. Now here comes the slide jump for him. We're inside 5 laps to go. Little bit of contact from our front 2 running. Davies got the lead, but for how long? Oldfield from ascend from so far back. Here comes Winter, has to turn it back down the racetrack. Now Brady Baldwin gets involved in it. Little bit of a touch front to nose on Oldfield. The top 4 throw a blanket over them. Clayton Davies is trying to stretch that margin as best he can. 7 machines in the fence, climbs the fence, and Baldwin's going to go tumbling. Will that trigger the caution? All of a sudden, Leeson found the barriers as well. We're running out of time here. 3 to go. And now it's starting to get nice and tight. Clayton Davies has got the lead. He's got 2 more laps left to run out in front. Ethan Winter struggling to try and run him down. Oldfield's not quite there. Winter's within spitting distance. They'll get the white when they come out of turn 4 this time by. You sense the slider is coming. Is Ethan Winter going to be close enough? Is he going to have a crack? The crack comes in 1 and 2. Gets to the low side. Davies rips the lip. Rides the boom. Rides it down the back straightaway. There is no room for a slider to come, and it's going to be the 50 machine. Clayton Davies takes it all here from the 35-lap feature. The dirt track at Charlotte doesn't fail to impress, and it's going to be a new winner for ODSE. Clayton Davies has not won, I believe, himself a race from the dirt track at Charlotte, picks himself up a new winner, and the number 50 machine rockets his way up the point standings as well. What a rocket ship out of the 50, and gets it done here on ODSE on your Thursday night. 2nd race of the season, and wasn't it a banger from the dirt track at Charlotte. The wide open clothing Australian Sprint Car Championships for 2025. Clayton Davies takes it out for Synergy Sim Racing. Ethan Winter manages to bring his car home in 2nd. Bradley Oldfield was looking to make it 4 wins from the dirt track at Charlotte and be the winningest driver once again. Paul Bryan manages to climb his way through the field, started out as 16th, brings it home inside of the top 5. Craig Dunn in behind him. Matthew Gowan's 22nd to 6th. Gains himself 16 spots on the night. Phenomenal drive from the driver who transferred in from the B main. Nathan Van der Wacker got sent to the rear of the field, had to drive his way back through it, gets back to 7th spot. Brayley Leeson inside of the top 10 and 8. James Oliver and Josh Barry to round out your 10. Multiple drivers from outside the 10, by the way, making their way inside the top 10. Brady Baldwin had an issue late on, just barely touched the fence and went tumbling through the field. Finishes 11th, was on for a top 4. He'll be a little bit disappointed with the way that one finished up. Bentley Summers, Darcy Walker out of 13th spot. Matthew Stables drove a reasonable race here tonight all the way through the spaghetti as well. Cameron De Bruin, Ayrton Smith manages a 16th spot finish. Cole Ferguson got involved in quite a few incidents, unfortunately, in that feature. Blaine Densley to the rear of the feature finishes 18th, last car running on the lead lap. Brock Thompson got involved, caused a caution with a few laps there to run at the end, finishes 7 laps down. Caleb Durgan not making the end. Here we get into the retirements. Nick Ryan was involved in one of those cautions just before the halfway mark. Lachlan Mead and Tim Ryan very early on in this one. Tim Ryan on that opening lap, unfortunately. 1 lap completed for the driver of the night. We are going to cut our ways through quickly to the interviews. I believe we're going to start our way from the bottom, work our way towards tonight's winner. Driving the number 51 machine, Bradley Oldfield. That was a scramble. It was so much fun. I get the feeling the sliders, you were sitting back there enjoying the sliders that were being sent by Davies and Winter on each other, brought you right back into that fight, and unfortunately just not able to get it done.
Yeah, I don't think, on pure pace, I don't think I had anything for them, but I was hoping with enough like slide job battles that I might be able to outrace them, but no, I'm pretty happy with where we got in the end. That was pretty quick, just not quick enough.
Mate, in terms of things that running the lip up on the outside, we saw Brady Baldwin got quite close to you at one point there, but it is flirting with danger, flirting with disaster up there and on the outside cushion. Risk levels that you were taking there tonight, you said obviously didn't quite have the pace, where you just sort of settled in for a third and I've got to sort of smarts my way into anything better?
Pretty much. So, like maybe like the run just before that last restart, I was starting to get a bit brave trying to run it. But since that restart, it felt like maybe I was just a bit out of rhythm. So I was just trying to get back into the rhythm, but obviously ran out of laps trying to do that.
All right, mate. And who would you like to give a shout out and a thank you here tonight for yourself and the 51 machine?
Big thanks to Harry. He did make the feature, but he stuck around to help me out. Pace Apparel, Sticker Suspension, Ultra Engines, Oldfield Settlements, Comex Civil, U-League Sim Sports, and yeah, just all the other boys back in the Discord as well.
Hey, congratulations on picking up P3 banker points as the series progresses out of round 2. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
We'll take one step further forwards as I try to move somebody out of the box and move myself instead. We're going to be chatting to tonight's second place driver. driving the number 1, Ethan Winter. Slide job battled your way away there with the 50 machine. That one was tough and technical. You two seemed like you had it all on your own up at the front.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool race early on. Didn't think I was, as good as Clayton there, and he got by me there. And just at the end, we were, me, Brad, Clayton were all throwing big sliders, and Clayton came out on top there. Good race altogether, and another good result for me. So, and a good result for the team to start the night. For all three of us to be in the dash draw is a big deal.
In terms of how the season's progressing at the moment, obviously a huge bank of points, but realistically, I think something that not only us here in the commentary box, you guys out there in the cars, but also the fans at home, how the fun that happens when you get to send big sliders with the amount of respect that's sent between you three, it brings Bradley Oldfield back into it. There's 3 of you guys who are all then playing check the momentum. That is what dirt racing is all about.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That was, it was really cool, and probably even better for the fans to watch. I'll have to, watch it back, because I know I threw some big bombs at times there, and so did Brad. So, yeah, just glad we can put on, a good show for everyone watching and the sponsors involved.
Mate, finally, floor is all yours to give the thank yous that you need to give to yourself and everyone behind the number 1 machine.
Yeah, thanks, Colin, for putting this all together. Ripper set tonight. Brady, Liam, and the admin team for putting this whole deal together. Hopefully we can continue this on through the season. Obviously thanks to yourself, Scott, SimSpeed, for putting on another stellar broadcast. Race sponsor Cole Ferguson, Australian Speedway Results, thanks to him for coming on board again this year. Wide Open Clothing, obviously, as a series sponsor, that's a big deal. And my sponsors, District 23 Suspension and Engineering, Trent Pullman Designs, Casey Simons Photography, Fusion Setup Shop, Pond World Podcast, and the Vortex and Kenny Hoffman Racing guys for helping out in testing.
Mate, thank you very much for joining us once again, Ethan. A pleasure to see you here from the dirt track at Charlotte. Congratulations on P2.
Thank you.
And finally, we're going to take a step down to the final driver who is going to take it all out. Reese Gardner has Clayton Davies on standby. Maybe we don't have Reese back with us. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race winner, driving the number 50 machine, Clayton Davies. I was just talking to Ethan. He said, man, that was so much fun being able to send big slide jobs. The biggest thing about this race, big wide open track here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Talking to a few drivers, said there was going to be a little bit of a single groove. That was the top shelf. But the biggest thing is that when you trust so many guys around you to send those sliders, that was a banger race to watch for the fans at home.
Well, one iconic Australian commentator says, if that didn't turn you on, you don't have a switch. I think that was probably the best racing I've seen at Charlotte. Probably my whole entire time on the sim. It's usually well known for being a single line racetrack. It's just always been a kind of a momentum deal. But the new update from the latest builds definitely helped us out with tracks like this, and having an experienced league runner like Brady kind of having an idea of what to do to equal out some of the lanes. Like, of course, it's always going to go back to the top, but at least it gave us multiple lines to kind of deal with before it got to that point. And yeah, as you brought up before, good drivers that have respect for each other. Of course, we're going to give each other room within reason. Like, we all threw as savage slide jobs as we can to try and kind of balk up everyone and stop their momentum. But no, I'm absolutely stoked for this. It's a track I've usually struggled with in the past, and tonight just fell my way. I thought I was kind of done with in the invert, but yeah, good race.
Man, it's brilliant seeing you guys get to really throw it right out sideways out there as well. Check the momentum. Talk to us a little bit about the strategy that comes with the slide job. I mean, when it's just you and Ethan, obviously it's quite clear you've got to throw the slider, because if you don't, he's just going to rip that top. Job's sort of over and done with. But then you buy that third car into it, and then it gets tricky and technical with reading where to turn down the track as well. That is just part of, that is what a real racer's mindset is, and that is probably some of the most difficult things you're ever going to find on the sim.
Well, yeah, exactly. So the whole point behind a slide job is to slow the momentum down of the opposite car that you're racing against. So obviously, Ethan being like the new hot shot for Australian sim racing and sprint cars, like him and Tim show some very similarities to where they're very good once they get their momentum together. So I can't afford to give him 5 laps clean. If he passes me, I have to make sure I can break his momentum so I have a chance. So I'm not a really smooth driver by any means. I'm predominantly well in tracks to where you kind of got to manhandle the car a bit and move around. So seeing him throwing slide jobs, I knew I had to keep his momentum down. And then when I brought Brad into the mix, I didn't know which way to look. I was sliding Ethan while also looking to my inside to see if I was getting slid. It was awesome, and especially with the no mirrors is a big changer in how we race each other, and I think it's for the better.
Well, it certainly created a little bit of incidents a little bit deeper in the field, but the racing up front was absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race winner from your Australian Speedway results, Charlotte Rumble, driver of the number 50, Clayton Davies. Who would you like to give a thank you for yourself and the number 50 machine?
First off, I'd like to thank my wife. She's dealing with the newborn right now, and she's allowing me to take a couple of hours out of the baby time to do something that I enjoy. All the guys back in Discord, like Miller and Blaine, they've always helped me out through through the races, kind of give me an idea of where the track's going to. Ashton for building this absolute weapon of a set. I was able to really put it anywhere I like and feel comfortable and drive it to the front. All the guys over in Synergy Sim Racing, those guys have supported me for the last 2 to 2.5 years, and they've been really good. Logitech G, Watercraft Performance Center, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Works Racing Components, Speedway Shop, Western Machine Shop, CD Cinematography, Gage Stephen Designs, 27 Designs, and you guys for putting on the broadcast, and Brady and everyone at ODC for putting on the league.
Well, congratulations, mate, on another race win. I know we'll be seeing you again in a couple weeks' time when we head out to Lincoln Speedway, but congratulations from the dirt track at Charlotte.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that is going to bring us to the conclusion here of the Wide Open Clothing Australian Sprint Car Championship by ODSE for 2025. Ethan Winter moves to the top of the point standings after finishing second here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Clayton Davies, though, moves into second place. Nathan Vanderwacker, a round that he will want to forget, but still manages to hang on to third spot. Bradley Oldfield shuffles his way back up to fourth. 2 points of a gap back to Paul Bryan. He's put a couple of good rounds together. Durgan, Matthew Gowans, James Oliver, Brady Baldwin back in ninth spot. Craig Dunn rounds out your top 10 of the championship standings at the end of night number 2. 2 weeks away, we are going to be walking our way to the LTK Graphics Lincoln Clash from Lincoln Speedway, 9:05 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time from March 27, 2025. I'll have to give you guys a little bit of an apology in advance. I was looking forward to getting my way down onto Lincoln Speedway for the first time in my commentary career. Won't be here. I'll be off in Sydney on a work trip, but that does not mean that I will not be tuning in to watch along on your Thursday night. And I wonder if we've got Reese back with us. Looking forward to Lincoln Speedway there, Reese? Unfortunately, the Southpaw Racers microphone has gone kaput from the western side of the country. From Charlotte, from everyone here in the SimSpeed commentary box, from the entire series admins at ODSE, this has been your Australian Sprint Car Series for 2025, proudly brought to you by Wide Open Clothing, and that was the Charlotte Rumble. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the RTK Graphics Lincoln Clash.